Number 27. Coming back to Halloween Town for one last boss, with a total boss score of 1,502, we have the strongest version of Oogie Boogie in the game, Oogie Boogie 1, on Standard and Beginner, after the Kyrie rescue. It's the same casino boss fight, now with 800 HP, 35-27 stat spread, and the same old dice gimmick where he skips around the arena like Pee-wee Herman, throwing dice at you that activate death traps and spawn search ghosts, white knights, and gargoyles. Of course, these mobs are stronger now as well, so that's something at least. I'm not recording it on the list, but it's something. He can even heal himself, because apparently somebody on the dev team thought it was necessary to make one of the most annoying bosses in the game able to recover health. The dice gimmick works like this. He rolls 3 dice, and you can reduce the number by hitting the dice back at him. If he rolls a 1, 2, or 3, he spawns the saw trap on the floor, probably the easiest trap to navigate. 4, 5, or 6 summons gargoyles. 7, 8, or 9 summons white knights. 10, 11, or 12 summons the knife trap. 13, 14, or 15 summons 2 search ghosts. And finally, 16, 17, 18 summons the healing machine, which, as you would expect, heals him. This healing function is a gimmick, and it's hard for him to get it consistently because it doesn't happen if you successfully deflect 1 out of 3 of his dice. But because he can technically heal, he gets a 1,000 point healing bonus. He's the only boss in the game whose entire gimmick literally falls on the roll of the dice. Basically the Kingdom Hearts version of Mario Party. Number 26. With a boss score of 1,569, we have Hercules, after rescuing Kyrie. He's one of the slowest moving enemies in the game, almost like he's just taking it easy on you or something. He attacks very infrequently, and spends half the fight showing off his muscles to the invisible audience in his imagination, which gives us just enough time to get the almighty Barrel Kun to finish him off for us. No, not you. Not you. You. There he is. The Godslayer himself. What most people miss about this fight is that you could stun him with Barrel Kun and then keep on stunning him with Barrel Kun while he's down by throwing all of his shadow clones at him. This will just reapply the stun and maximize damage. It's not that much damage, but it's more than the game thinks you can inflict. This is the strongest version of Hercules in the game, featuring classic Herculean feats such as running at speeds that could potentially cover about 3 miles over the course of an hour. His most dangerous move is where he channels his inner Apache roots. No, not the Native American tribe, I'm talking about the helicopters. You can re-challenge him anytime you want in the late game, and here you can just continually reapply the stop spell alongside a full stock of ethers and elixirs to stop spam infinitely.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Yeah, you know what, this spell might be a little bit broken. As trivia, sadly this is the last time that we see Barrel Kun in the series. No, not you, get out of here. Shame on you. You will be dearly missed. You were the best party member in this game. You even healed us better than Donald. You were able to carry the entire team. And of course, you made us laugh. Rest in peace, Barrel Kun. You will be missed. Number 25. With a boss score of 1,592, we have Cloud from the Hercules Cup, after the Kyrie rescue. This is the strongest version of Cloud in the game, and he is strangely capable of outlasting you with his uncanny ability to guard your attacks. Because who doesn't love a good prolonged duel, am I right? His Omni Slash is at its most dangerous here, assuming you're at the right level, which you probably aren't, because let's be honest, if you bothered coming back here, you bothered to level grind. It's one of the most unpredictable moves in the game, and so you're probably gonna get hit by it at least once or twice, forcing a few heals out of you. But on the bright side, he tends to attack Donald and Goofy with it first. At least you get to show off that your friends are your power by using them as meat shields. On the downside though, and this guy knows a thing or two about being a downer, he will spam it every 10 seconds, because nothing says good game design like a boss who spams iframes. That being said, we're still very much in the mid-range of bosses right now, so he's not that bad to fight, but he is a few hundred points short of being called good by Kingdom Hearts standards. At his strongest, Cloud has 600 health, 35 strength, and 27 defense, and 3 resistances to fire, blizzard, and stun. So, he's fallen behind Hercules in terms of health, but his strength and defense are on par with him. He can be easily cheesed by spamming MP restoration and stop spam for interesting results. Just be careful because he isn't easily staggered by this, so he can break out with his DM Omni Slash. As trivia, Cloud's design in this game is based on Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy VII, but his design is also very similar to Sora's early design where he had a chainsaw instead of a keyblade, and beast claws for hands, so remnants of this can actually be seen on Cloud's Kingdom Hearts 1 design. Number 24. Well, with a combined boss score of 1,891, we have Red Armor from the Fill Cup before the Kairi rescue, the hidden armor boss. Often mistaken for guard armor, which is understandable because they are largely identical, it totals 430 HP across several rounds, which is just enough to make you bored of fighting this budget Bionicle. 17 strength, 14 defense, resists fire, blizzard, and of course stun, and he's immune to stop, because of course it's immune to stop. Why would you ever want this fight to stop? Are you not having fun? Are you not entertained? His attack speed and movement are fairly average, so there's just enough danger to keep you from zoning out completely, but not enough to justify how long this fight takes. That being said, it gets stronger after the Kairi rescue, so moving on. But first, a bit of trivia. Red Armor was actually in the vanilla release of the game, but it wasn't named there, and they never had any journal entries. They just shared a journal entry with the original Heartless, which was Guard Armor. Red Armor was one of many Heartless in the vanilla release of the game that weren't named there. They never had any journal entries, but they just shared a journal entry with the original Heartless of that type. So Red Armor shared its slot with Guard Armor, Destroyed Behemoth shared its slot with Behemoth, Sneak Army shared it with Stealth Sneak, and Bit Sniper and World of Chaos just never appeared in the journal at all. Number 23. Going all the way back to the very beginning of the game, with a total boss score of 1,895, and the last boss on the list before we could start calling them hard, we have Guard Armor. The fight begins with a small group of 6 Soldier Heartless, which are technically part of the fight since they serve to weigh you down before entering, and you can't skip them. He's your first real boss, and he has the audacity to fight back. What a jerk, am I right? Guard Armor's main difficulty comes from the lack of abilities available to you at the time that you meet him. No dodge roll, probably no guard, and maybe not even scan. The battle can be made easier by jumping to attack, because the animation cancels from landing allow not only quicker attacks, but also quicker recovery if you need to back off to avoid his attacks. Overall, he's a pretty difficult challenge for the part of the game you fight him in, but he's designed to be overcome fairly easily. Still, he's far from the weakest of the armor Heartless in the game. He has 980 health between arms, legs, and torso. Massive for the early game, by the way, at over 4 times Darkseid 1's HP. His strength and defense, though, are not very high. They're only 8 each. He's not a fast-moving boss, he's only tier 2. The player can easily run circles around him, but his attack speed is pretty decent due to being made up of 3 enemies that attack independently. It can be fairly daunting to try and parry his arm swing or his spinning top attack, since you can miss easily and take a huge chunk of damage. Its difficulty comes largely from Sora's low level and its relatively monstrous health pool for this point in the game. As trivia, the torso of most armor Heartless has health caps that will stop it from taking too much damage before you attack the arms and legs. Each set of limbs you remove will move this cap down, and this is to ensure that you destroy the torso last, effectively adding the health bars of the 3 separate enemies together. Number 22. With a combined boss score of 2,337, we've got Red Armor's rerun from the Fill Cup. Now, this guy's just a budget enemy fight who was late to the party and had to go home because another boss was wearing the same outfit. He does have the added benefit of 4 rounds of weak mob support, but let's not pretend he's carrying the cup. He's more like the guy who shows up late and asks what round it is. His stats are decent, carrying 810 HP between 4 different enemies. Yes, 4. Since you fight 2 sets of arms over the 4 rounds you fight him in the Fill Cup. 35 strength, 27 defense, and he's got some resistances to fire, blizzard, and obviously stun. And he's immune to stop. Basically, he's just resistant to fun. Out of 10 rounds, there are 4 that contain red armor limbs, adding up to 23 enemies, which are all level 1 enemies, but it's unfair to add 2,300 boss points for this, so we just divide that by the number of rounds we fight the limbs in, this being 4. To get a point addition of 575 mob points. Let's not pretend level 1 Shadows are doing any of the heavy lifting here. Otherwise though, he's exactly the same as his pre-rescue version, just slightly buffer. Like a gym bro who finally upgraded from curling soup cans to actual dumbbells. Number 21. Well, moving on to a familiar face, coming in at 2,405 boss points, it's Red Armor, again. This time in the Hades Cup, because clearly we need to fight this thing more than twice. Hey, every boss on the list is somebody's favourite, and this was clearly Nomura's. Unlike the Fill Cup cameo, this one's the full fight. No 4 rounds nonsense, no tricks, just Guard Armor 2.0 with a slightly different paint job. This time, it's one full battle against the entirety of red armor, making its health a little lower than the Phil Cup post-rescue. It's an exact one-for-one remake of the guard armor fight, except scaled up for late game. That's it. The red armor also includes the hammer legs that you fight in Seed 48, which adds to the HP and the enemy count of this boss, adding up to 810 health. He's got Arc Behemoth stats, he's got 3 resistances to fire, blizzard, and stun, because why the hell not, and an immunity to stop magic, because if he moved any slower, he'd be moving backwards. Its mob score is 1800 over 3 rounds, but this includes not only higher leveled enemies assisting it, but less rounds dividing them up. So the boss points gained are actually slightly higher than the Phil Cups version at 600. Overall, it's just guard armor, but with one stipulation, and this is part of the trivia for this boss. You could destroy the torso before the limbs if you want to. Every other armor Heartless requires you to destroy the limbs first, giving the torso a bunch of health barriers that can't be passed until the limbs are dealt with. But red armor's limbs can be dealt with in any order. Finally, a boss with some body positivity. Number 20. With a combined boss score of 2,664, we have Leon and Yuffie from the Pegasus Cup before the Kairi rescue. Together, they have 900 HP, which they use almost exclusively to waste your time. 600 for Leon and 300 for Yuffie. Yuffie has a healing ability, and she's both a runner and a track star, which means you'll be chasing her around the arena a lot while Leon helpfully lobs fireballs at you like an emotionally distant father figure. A large amount of the points this boss has is because of Yuffie's ability to heal, which can make it pretty frustrating to not target her, basically forcing you to take her on first while Leon strikes at you from the sides with slow swipes and fireballs. Eroga would make this fight laughable, but let's be honest, you don't have it. Because to get it, you need puppies, and to get the puppies, you need the Yellow Trinity, and to get the Yellow Trinity, you need to do the Hercules Cup. And to do the Hercules Cup, well, you need to stop being here. Well, focus on Yuffie first. Make sure she doesn't escape, because she will heal both herself and Leon by 150 HP, basically undoing several minutes of hard work. For this reason, try to ignore Leon, because Yuffie can just heal him anyway. Once you've taken Yuffie down, Leon is basically the same fight as he was in Traverse Town. But this time he has a second phase where he buffs his Freedom Blade with some kind of pale moon resin or something, straight out of Dark Souls. He doesn't get stronger, he just gets hyper armor and a wider range. Once Yuffie's out of the way though, Leon is pretty easy to crowd, and you can just smack him into the corner until he runs out of health. As trivia, most Final Fantasy fans actually know Leon as Squall from FF8. His nickname here comes from his surname, Leonhardt. In this game, he didn't want to return to his original name until he'd finished the restoration of Radiant Garden, which he was in the process of in Kingdom Hearts 2, because nothing says emotional growth like rebranding. Number 19. At 3,022 boss points, we have Leon and Yuffie from the Pegasus Cup, after the Kairi rescue. The most difficult battle in the Pegasus Cup. They've got 1,200 combined HP, that's 450 for Yuffie, the real threat here, and 750 for Leon, the guy who loses with grace and dignity.
No way. I can lose.
Both with endgame stats, 35 strength and 27 defense respectively. Altogether, the pair have 8 moves between the two of them, slow attacks and mid-synergy. This is just the same pair from earlier, just scaled to late game. Focus on Yuffie first to stop her from heal spamming, otherwise you'll just be playing Smack the Edgelord for 10 straight minutes. So, leave Leon mostly alone until then, because he only really gets dangerous in phase 2 anyway. Even then, Leon's pretty much no match for you alone anyway, so just keep up the aggressive gaming style and he too will go down without too much of a hassle. Yuffie's actually the most dangerous of the two in the second phase due to her giant unblockable shuriken, which can create some space for her to go and run off and heal. So assuming this is the return trip for context, you'll have an endgame Sora, and therefore most likely the Eroga spell as well. Eroga though absolutely breaks this fight like a Kit Kat bar. It reflects Leon's fireballs and makes Yuffie's slow-moving shuriken attack return to sender and stun her on top of that. Or whoever else you happen to be locked onto at the time. This is not exactly a cheese, but if you have it, cast Eroga and then you win. Number 18. Well, with our weakest hard boss on the list, with a combined boss score of 3,287, we have Pot Centipede, an early game boss with all the headache of a mid-game boss. Yes, this thing. No, you weren't bad at the game, he really is just that hard. This one was hard to get an accurate read on. On paper, it's nothing special. 500 HP, 17 strength, 15 defense, and spinning around helplessly 95% of the time like my uncle after a night out. But that's just the centipede. The real threat here is the 30 plus pot spiders everywhere. It's less of a boss fight and more of an unpaid extermination gig. They're everywhere in this fight, in every area, and they will probably beat you a lot more than the boss itself will. The boss itself can be spammed, as you're seeing on screen right now. As long as it has at least 2 pot spiders in the body, you can just chain jump attacks as you follow it around for massive damage. If you failed to interact with the game, aka you've been speedrunning the boring parts and not level grinding, well, you will be doing chip damage against this boss, so it also acts as a DPS check for access into the later game. It's very fast for an early game boss. Its movement speed is tier 4. This thing is sprinting laps like Karen searching for a manager. Too bad it attacks at the pace of a snail though. There are tons of full safe zones in the area. You may have to clear out a few spiders to get to them, but once you've done it, the pot spiders won't respawn and the boss itself won't be able to climb up to you. You can also just stand right here in the center of its face in a really specific spot and it just can't hit you there. As trivia, if you use Simba to clear the pot spiders fast enough, you can actually trap the pot centipede in the first area as just a head and a tail. Strangely enough though, it's a bit more difficult this way because it does nothing but spam the antenna spin attack. Number 17. With a combined boss score of 4,205, we have Opposite Armor from the Hades Cup. Yes, gamers had it both right and wrong. Opposite Armor is the weakest and the strongest of the armor Heartless. In the Hades Cup, the arena is much smaller and much less gimmicky, there are a lot less areas to hide, and its wide-ranging attacks are a lot harder to avoid. And despite being a late-game enemy in the Hades Cup of all places, he actually has the same health as he did in Traverse Town, at 1,305. His strength and defense have received a late game boost as well to 40 and 30 respectively, tied with the Archbehemoth, and he's surrounded by 6 level 3 mobs in the form of Dark Ball Heartless. Even though we're now in the Hades Cup where we fought the Red Armor, the boss you can tackle the limbs in any order you want, with Opposite Armor you still have to take down the limbs first for whatever reason. It can be a very time consuming fight and you can very easily lose if you're not paying attention to all the small, fast moving enemies on screen. Luckily, Thunder can be used to clear all the Dark Balls quickly, and as always, Eroga stops so much damage that no boss in this tier range is realistically a threat to you. As trivia, the Heartless emblem that's on all armor Heartless is on the front and back of the torsos. The one on the front is right way up, and the one on the back is upside down. This means that when it turns into the opposite armor, it's the right way up. Number 16. With a total boss score of 4,226, we have Leon and Cloud from the Hades Cup. Back and buffer than ever. This is the duo that nobody asked for but everyone wanted. They have 1,350 health combined. That's 750 for Leon and 600 for Cloud. They share a boosted 42 strength and 34 defense because apparently brooding increases bone density. Now these two are both pretty slow fighters that get faster as the fight progresses. Cloud is the actual problem. If you let him hit half health, he'll DM into Omni Slash every 10 seconds and start flying around like a Final Fantasy themed blender, comboing pretty well with Leon's wide sweeps. Leon though is mostly just a guy with a glow stick. Your job as the player is to delete Leon before Cloud hits anime mode, otherwise you're in for a very long fight. Once Leon is dealt with, it's just a pretty standard Cloud fight, just a beefed up version of Cloud from the Pegasus Cup. This time you're in the middle of the Hades Cup, so it's not wise to cheese him with stop spells or to waste MP trying to take him out, so just fight him normally with Aero and Cure. But if you want to challenge Cloud in isolation on the other hand, well that's a different story. As trivia, during the story mode of the game, we actually see a Cloud just floating around on ground level. Now, since I just love to correct people's mistakes, I decided, no, you don't belong down here, you belong in the sky. So I decided to return him there with the rest of his people. So, by getting him airborne, and spamming the stop spell, and hitting him a load of times, we can send him back to his family. Be free, you spiky-haired freak. Number 15. With a combined boss score of 4,457 and an unearned sense of self-importance, we arrive at Clayton and Stealth Sneak. Finally, a fellow Brit. Not like all these American cartoons. Nah, we got us a proper Brit who deals with his problems in typical Brit fashion. Too bad they had to Americanize him in the game though. Yeah, it's a bit strange to see an early game boss so low on the list, but for those of you who faced him, you know exactly why he's here. This is a two-part fight. The first phase can be entered and exited as many times as you want, which you might want to do in the vanilla version, because cutscenes can't be skipped over there. This is of course unless you really enjoy hearing.
Not Clayton. Not Clayton.
There will always be 4 power wilds in the area, which we can take out very quickly with Thunder or Blizzard if we need to. This isn't recommended though, because we will be needing the MP for the stealth sneak portion of the fight. The second phase is the Kingdom Hearts attempt at the Ornstein and Smough situation, except one's a Disney hunter and the other is an invisible chameleon that never asked for any of this nonsense. It's just a shame it's not later on in the game where a fight like this would be a lot more appropriate. Clayton has 250 HP, twice, and Stealth Sneak has 750 HP. Both share battle stats with Sabor, which makes sense, they're equally allergic to basic competence. It's an odd situation here. Stealth Sneak has 750 HP, but you don't need to fight him besides knocking Clayton off its back. If you do beat Stealth Sneak first, he will drop a Mega Potion for your efforts. Clayton has the incredibly annoying ability to heal himself and Stealth Sneak, making the fight drag on if you use Clayton for too long. Clayton is basically just a man with a gun. Otherwise, use your imagination. How many things can you do with a gun? Well, Clayton can do it. Despite how hard of a fight they are, you can actually cheese the whole thing pretty easily. Just knock Clayton off a Stealth Sneak, then climb up this vine, and wait patiently for Clayton to jump up there with you. Once you're up here, you can spam him with 1 or 2 hit combos, or more if you have combo pluses. As long as you never do a finisher, he will never recover. You can spam him down to 0 health pretty easily, and as long as you keep the battle on the left side of this cliff, Stealth Sneak will be unable to jump up to help him. He loses 5,000 points for this floor, which is a testament to his difficulty that he's still so high on the list despite this glaring design flaw. Without this exploit, he would actually be the 8th hardest boss in the game. And most of this difficulty is just because he can heal and you can't, because Cure is actually the reward you get for winning this fight. As trivia, Clayton may actually be a Heartless who was able to maintain his human form. Tarzan seems to be able to recognize hearts. He was able to sense Sora and Kairi's connection at the start of the world. Then, his first words to Clayton were,
Not Clayton. Not Clayton.
while saying the ape word for heart. This implies that Clayton was actually a heartless version of himself, and this scene would be where his heart was taken. Number 14. With a combined boss score of 5,700 exactly, we have Chernabog on Standard or Beginner mode. Earlier on we discussed Proud Mode Chernabog being one of the weakest bosses in the game because of the EXP 0 damage exploit. Well, EXP 0 doesn't exist on Standard or Beginner. We actually have to fight him here. So, this guy shows up out of nowhere, stands completely still inside of a volcano like some kind of ugly toilet plunger, and hopes his wide attack hitboxes and late game stats will carry him to victory. Spoiler alert, they don't, but he makes a good effort. He's got 1500 health, Arc Behemoth stats, and all the charisma of a volcano with teenage girl mood swings. He hits hard, his attacks are frequent, and the soundtrack playing in the background is about the best Disney has to offer. He has 13 resistances, which is the maximum number that you can have in this game. Or 1 resistant to fire, blizzard, and stun, because why not? 2 to thunder, 4 to each of gravity and stop. He shares this number of resistances with Hercules. He only has 6 moves, but let's be honest, it feels like more. His Fire Pillar attack can catch you off guard and hit you twice if you're too aggressive, and his Soul Missile attack can make it hard to get footing in this fight, since they'll hit you if you stand still for too long. After a while, he'll hit you with a Get Off Me Wind attack to push you to the back of the arena, after which he'll follow up with a 7-colored Flame attack, or just another Soul Missile, both of which will track you as you try to dodge. As the fight progresses, his Flame Pillar and Fire Breath get stronger to match the intensity of the battle. The Fire Pillar attack can take you from full health to 0 in 5 seconds, which sounds impressive until you remember that he's also completely stationary. This attack is like getting run over by a parked car. He was harder in the vanilla release of the game because you didn't have access to Leaf Bracer to tank his hits with Cure, but even still, if you aren't running a mage build, you may not have access to Leaf Bracer anyway. Overall, he's very similar in how he operates to Final Form Ansem, with his repulsion and laser attacks. Overall, a decent challenge as far as Kingdom Hearts bosses go, but still quite a good bit short of the hardest bosses in the game. As trivia, in the vanilla version of the fight, Night at Bald Mountain did not play. It was actually just the typical Disney villain song that played, Squirming Evil. Number 13. Coming in at one of the 2 most magical Kingdom Hearts numbers, with a total boss score of 5,766, we have Hades. Hades is one of the few bosses in the game with a health bar so large that it doesn't appear on screen, so it can demoralize you a bit seeing that your hits are doing seemingly no damage. Don't worry, you are hurting him, it just takes a while to see it. Get used to this, he's not the only boss in the Hades Cup with this issue. He has 1800 health, which adds up to 6 health bars. Only 5 can be seen on screen at any one time. He has 42 strength and 34 defense, which is the same as full power Hercules, Cloud, and Leon. He only has 2 resistances, 1 to thunder, and 1 to stun. Because apparently being a literal god doesn't come with very much magic resistance. I don't know, maybe the magic wore off because he was voiced by James Woods. Well, with resistances like that, I'd hope he's got some good insurance.
Does having a Heart of Light come with an extremely good insurance policy?
Like a microwave burrito, Hades is only really dangerous when overheated, in which case he'll turn red, after which he's more aggressive and will take less damage. But you can actually cancel this with Blizzard, which is like smacking him in the face with a snowball mid-dialogue. For that matter, most of his attacks can be cancelled with Blizzard. He's not weak to it though, he's just normally affected. Hades is also one of the few bosses in the game with an absorption ability. In this case, he absorbs the element of fire, and will heal if you hit him with a fire spell. This gives him a decent stat bonus on this list. Hades might be fairly difficult the first couple of times, but he has no phase 2, so it's just a matter of time until you learn his very simple attack pattern and take him down, since he never ever mixes it up. As trivia, Hades has an alternate cutscene after the first Olympus visit. If you defeat Maleficent before completing the first visit, then she will not appear in the resulting cutscene at the end. He's also one of the few characters in the game to say the forbidden word.
I am the Lord of the Dead!
No wonder no one wants to die.
4 of you have tried to annihilate me.
Number 12. With a total boss score of 6,327, we have Ansem 1 on Standard and Beginner mode. Ah yes, the man, the myth, the darkness enthusiast. Ansem's first form has 1500 health with a respectable 40 strength and 30 defense, and the energy of a teenager who just discovered existential dread for the first time and won't shut up about it.
Darkness.
We've already covered the Proudmo version of the fight, which is lower on the list due to the EXP0 exploit, but this specific iteration of the boss shows how strong he'd be without that cheese method. He actually doesn't have access to his entire moveset during this fight. He gets that during the second fight after Darkside 3, so he spends most of the fight just running away and throwing dark rings at you, like a goth boomerang salesman. His Guardian can sneak up behind you and replace your attack command with Freeze, which feels less like a threat and more like a bad QTE where he attempts to fly at you with his dark shield. And yes, I do mean attempts to fly at you. The effect is random and unpredictable, and he will vanish after a few seconds, but he can pin you down while you're at low health to try and hit you down to 0 health before you can cast Cure. The arena is also surprisingly big. You have access to almost the entire Fallen Islands map, including the waterfall pool at the top, so there are a few places to go to get some space from him if you need to retreat. Overall, he's not a very difficult boss, but he's a very decent warm-up challenge for the endgame. As trivia, he's actually slightly stronger here in this fight than he is in the second fight. This may be an adjustment for the additional Darkside 3 health bar, which you do technically have to beat as part of the second Ansem battle. Number 11. With a combined boss score of 6,700, not too far from our number 12 entry, we have Ansem 2. He's very similar to Ansem 1, but with 300 less health for whatever reason. Possibly just as a mercy after the whole Darkside 3 slugfest. He has typical endgame battle stats of 40 strength and 30 defense, and a new and improved moveset of 9 moves, putting him just below the trio fight against Tidus, Selphie, and Waka. He spends the majority of the fight floating around trying to market his unique condom brand to us.
Come, Guardian!
Yeah, but unfortunately, we don't need protection, because we have friends. This guy is pretty much the same fight as Ansem 1, just with more moves, minus his ineffectual ring attack. He will also have a DM that can be avoided by just running around in a circle. He'll also have a Giga Impact move straight out of Pokemon. He'll also sometimes stall out the last hit to catch you off guard if you're panic rolling to avoid him. You can parry it though to end it early, leaving him open to a counter attack. He is a much more dangerous opponent than his first counterpart and will cause a lot more resets. On top of that, if he causes a reset, you will have to fight Darkside again just to get a second shot against him, which can leave you on low MP, health, or resources. That being said, he's far from the top of the list, not even breaking into the top 10. His difficulty is mostly due to the fact that he's the only enemy in the game that seems prepared for the player's dodge roll spam. As trivia, this boss arena was originally a lot more complex, and still exists as cut content. It's unknown how this battle would have been different. I suppose our imagination can fill in the blanks better than a bunch of underpaid game devs.